Hey guys, it is just another knife guy here with a review of the Spyderco Delica. So a little bit about this knife. It's been around for a while, not the Delica 4, which this one is, but the original Delicas has been around for a very long time. And it's a very, I guess, I don't know what you'd say, trademark knife of Spyderco. And when you think of Spyderco, a lot of people think straight to the Delica. So really what this knife is, just a, I don't want to say injury because that's really what the tenacious and ambitious line of knives is, but, kind of on the lower side of the mid-range Spydercos, and Spyderco, kind of made this to be an affordable, very nice knife. So let's get into the good and the bad. Okay, the good. The first part is that it has a VG10 blade, as you can see it right there, VG10. So this steel is very nice for knives because it's not on the lower end like HCR13 MOV or AUS 8, but it's not really to the higher end of S30V, so you get a good edge retention as well as easy sharpenability, which is a really good compromise between those two traits. And it's also on a cheaper knife, which this guy is about $65, and I just feel like that's a really good steal for the price point. The second thing is the texturing on the handle. So you can see it's kind of a steppy thing. It's going in one way this way and another way that way. And that's really nice because when it's in your hand, it won't go out of your hand in or out. So this is a really good knife for if you're, working in wet or slimy conditions a lot. This guy will definitely not go out of your hand. But it is easy on the pocket because it has these little flat areas, and the clip sits right on those, as you could see. And it's also the same for tip up, tip down, or left or right carry. So this will be good for any kind of carrying, and it slides into the pocket really easily. Okay, another thing is that the clip is pretty good. So the clip is a little spring clip. I feel like it works really good. It doesn't really get sprung out easily or anything. It's just a nice all-around clip. It's got the little Spyderco logo right there, I'm sure you can see. And yeah, it's just a good clip, no complaints on that. Another thing is that these guys have multiple colors for the handles. I don't know them off my head, but you do have plenty of colors, and Blade HQ has some exclusives with purple and pink and green and brown. So those look really nice with the Delica, and if I hadn't already had this one, I would definitely pick one of those up. So that is really cool. Another thing is the thumb hole. So I love using this thumb hole. This is the only knife that features a thumb hole, and of course Spyderco is the first to do it, so it's kind of their thing. So that is really nice having, and you can close it with one hand. A lot of people think you cannot, but no, it just takes a little practice, and you can easily close that guy with one hand. So the thumb hole is decently chamfered. It doesn't tear your thumb up, but it's also not just great, but I've never had any problems with it or anything. And the thumb hole is just certainly a great way to not get cut up in your blade path, because if you have a thumb stud there, when you're cutting, it could get caught on whatever you're cutting, or trying to stab into something, definitely get caught up on the thumb hole. You definitely do not have any of those problems. Next, of course, just a good lock up, no side to side or vertical play on this knife, so that is good. But that's kind of expected once you get past the $50 in knives, and if it does have that, chances are you can send it back with your warranty service and get that fixed up. So just a good thing to have. Next is that it was lightweight. I'm not sure of the weight. Man, I wish I would look that up. But it is a very lightweight knife with these plasticky handles, which we'll get back to. But yeah, it is a very light knife, and that will be very good for everyday carry. Kind of a slim profile as well for everyday carry, so also very thin. So just really good in the pocket. Second is that it does have steel liners. I'm pretty confident you won't be able to see that, but it does have steel liners in there. So with the plastic handles, it won't give any flex at all. As you can see, I'm trying to there, and it just won't give it all. So that's very good. Also, the warranty on Spyderco's is now good. They recently changed it so you can disassemble your knives and clean them without voiding your warranty. And they also do not put red Loctite on these screws. So good warranty from Spyderco now. Also, the blade shape's very nice. have kind of a leaf blade shape, and it's just really good for puncturing and slicing. Of course, you have a very thin blade stock on the Delica, so really good all around EDC blade shape. You've got a lanyard hole on there, which can be good, so just mention that. And it's got a very nice thumb ramp, as you can see there, with some jimping on there. I don't know how good you'll be able to see that, but you do have a thumb ramp which really locks your thumb in. You won't slide up anywhere. Just really good thumb ramp, so that's nice, along with the ergonomics is very good. You don't have any hot spots on the Delica as far as I have found, so that's certainly nice. And lastly, you have all these clip positions, tip up left or right side and tip down left or right side. So that is absolutely nice. Okay, so let's move on to the bad. Okay, on the bad side, we have a couple things, but they aren't too bad, so let's get into it. The first thing, and probably the worst in my opinion, is the handle scales. Now, these are textured fine, but it is kind of a plastic, it's called FRN, so it's better than, cheap plastic you get off, really, thrift store knives, but, it kind of gives off a cheap feeling, sort of the same vibe as you get off the Benchmade Griptilian, just a little cheaper than you would expect. Now, you can get, not directly from Spyderco, but you can get metal scales for these guys, which is, that's going to cost you probably more than the knife itself, but if you really want those, you can have them. But as they sit, I just really kind of don't like the scales. The next thing is that it is very hard to disassemble. Now, I have a video on disassembly, and you can definitely look at that if you would like to, but this knife is very tricky to get back together and stuff like that. So yeah, I just gotta throw that in there, because if you are going to have to maintain your knives over a certain period of time, and with this one, it is certainly no easy task. It's made in Japan for $65. I really can't knock it for that. You'll be hard pressed to find a decent American-made knife for that much. So just keep that in mind. And the final thing is that it has no choil. As you can see there, certainly missing a sharpening choil. So with sharpening, that will kind of, hinder you a bit. I believe Eric Glesser said that they don't include one because it can get hung up on what you're cutting, and that's fair. It will get hung up from time to time, but I find that it's worth it for the ease of sharpening. And last thing, if you enjoy flicking your knives out, you won't be able to do it with the Delica. Just the way the back lock is, the action's kind of slower. For one hand opening, perfectly fine, but if you're just some guy who can't have a knife unless you can flick it, yeah, you won't, really love this guy. You can give it a little wrist and get it open, but, Okay, so now for the conclusion. I believe this is a very nice knife and definitely a great starter for Spyderco, along with the, tenacious line. It's not that much more. So I believe if you're new to Spyderco or have never had an experience with them, or just, want a nice everyday carry knife, the Delica is a great way to go for that. Thank you.